Hi, and welcome to this video showing how to complete the letter of intent for the 2023-24 Nursing Enrollment, Retention, and Growth Program. This program is being managed in the NOVA system, so first things first, you will need a NOVA account. If you do not have one, click down here and request access to NOVA. We'll put our employer in, let's say I'm Chabot. We're going to scroll down to Nursing Enrollment, Growth, and Retention, and we're going to choose either the applications or the projects. These three things control permissions and roles in NOVA. There's a lot of programs and a lot of institutions, so the help desk to set up your account with the proper permissions needs to know who you work for, what program you need access to, and what that access looks like. So when you've completed that, we hit add this request. You add your personal info, first name, last name, email, and this submits a request to the help desk to create this account. It usually is done within a day. Once you have your NOVA account, we're going to log in. If you look over here at the left-hand bar, these are all the different programs in NOVA. We're going to click on Nursing Enrollment. This is different than nursing. Nursing, the program in NOVA, is the legacy nursing program that is active through 2022-23. There were significant changes made in this new program to the point where it needs a new build, it needs a new module in NOVA, which we are calling Nursing Enrollment. So we click on Nursing Enrollment and we click on Plans. A little bit of misnomer there. I know these are letters of intent. We'll get to the guts of them, but they're called plans in NOVA. You'll notice that there are two types in here. Under Fund, you'll see Enrollment Growth and Enrollment Retention. Obviously, there's some slight differences between the two, specifically around the narrative responses in the letter of intent guidance. But every college should have one. So if I were, for instance, Evergreen Valley College, I'd filter by lead institution up here, and I'd see this is my particular plan. I'm not going to show you one of these in production NOVA. This is real NOVA. If I start clicking on things, it will impact the plans and letters of intent. So I'm going to show you instead, this is a sample in our sandbox environment. There's a few differences, like the fact that this says V4. This was the fourth time we tested it. But otherwise, the functionality here is going to be what you're going to experience when you fill out your college's letter of intent and plan in NOVA. So first things first, you see this orange workflow with all these incomplete steps over here. If in your system you do not see this, it means you do not have the proper permissions and roles to do so. If you run into that problem and you don't see this, we're going to go ahead and click Help, Submit Support Request, tell the help desk they will add the right roles and permissions to your account. But once you see this workflow on the side, I want to point out a couple things. The first 5 sections you can see are incomplete. These are the sections that you will be required to fill out for the letter of intent. There are 2 other sections, the work plan and the success stories. The work plan is going to be asked for after the letter of intent phase, so do not worry about it right now. You can ignore this, skip it for now. Like I said, after the letter of intents are submitted, we will be asking grantees to start working on the work plan. There's also the success story, which you can use at any time to add success stories about this program. The Chancellor's Office does appreciate that very much. All right, so there's 5 sections for the actual letter of intent phase of this program that we need to complete. Let's click on Details and orient ourselves to this page here. We have the guidance text up top. That's on most pages. Most sections of the workflow have guidance text. And then also another thing to point out is this error stepper over here. The error stepper tells you what you have left to do. So if I hit click it, it's going to take me down past all the details about the grant to what you have to actually complete on the details section, which are these assurances. So we're going to click these assurances. These are directly out of the LOI documentation. And then you'll see once we've clicked that last one that error stepper went away and details is now complete. We move on to contacts. There's some guidance text up here to explain this. You need to assign 2 contacts. You are allowed to assign a third type if necessary. The required contacts are going to be the project lead contact. That's who's going to be doing most of your NOVA work, who's going to be submitting, or who's going to be filling out and submitting the letter of intent, the work plan when we get there. They'll be filling out the surveys and fiscal reports as well, which I believe are biannual for this program. So this person's going to be doing most of your NOVA work. If they have someone working with them, that's a good use for the alternate project lead contact. The alternate project lead cannot submit anything, but they can fill out, edit, and generally and have full reign except for submitting. The other required role here is the fiscal report approver. When your college submits the biannual reports, there is an approval process where the fund monitor from the chancellor's office, and then this role, which is usually somebody from the college, from the CBO's office, a designee of the CBO, would sign off on behalf of the college. So it's what we call a local approver step. So this is going to be someone from your college, usually in the CBO's office, and you would add them by just choosing the contact, finding their name, and let's say this is Linda. And you'll see that once I've added both those contacts, I can move on. Next section is just the letter of intent requirements. If you're familiar with the documentation by the Chancellor's Office, these are straight out of the appendices. There's this district contact list, which I'm going to just quickly fill out. You'll see the error stepper gradually go down in the top right-hand corner. Fun fact, all fields require 2 characters. All right, so this is, like I said, this is straight out of the appendices. This is your contact list, supporting cast. I'm not going to belabor that too much. These questions are also right out of the LOI. The first one's an important one here. How many nursing are you planning, or how many cohorts are you planning to expand? There are only 2 colleges that are able to ask for 3. I believe it's Fresno City and Riverside. Every other growth college is either kind of pre-approved for 1 or 2. And so check the memo in order to see kind of which group your college falls in. By clicking 0, you are essentially saying you do not want to participate in the growth part of the program. So make your choice. Let's just say 1 for now. Fill out the rest of these questions. Each one allows 2,500 characters, which is about a half page to a full page of solid text. Once we have completed all of our sections here, we move on to the budget. You'll see that's completed as well. All right. For this initial phase, this is what's called the guardrailed advance. It's called a couple of things. This is not the total amount your college may be getting for growth colleges. The letter of intent and that question I showed will impact that. The Chancellor's Office will need to make some calculations and then release the final allocations. The amounts initially budgeted for this phase, for the letter of intent, were those 85% of last year's funding minimum guardrailed amounts. So what we're asking for the letter of intent phase is to provide a narrative on how you'll spend the funds overall, regardless of what they end up being, and then a budget of these initial amounts over the 2-year phase. This is, of course, a 2-year program, so there's 2 years of budgets. And I have to budget the entire amount over those 2 years. So let's just and budgets are filled out this way. You choose an object code. We're going to click on instructional salaries, clinical faculty, and that's going to be 75,000. I would click on new budget item again, and let's say we've got supplies and materials as well to the tune of 25,000. Please provide more information than I am here. This is the Chancellor's Office staff needs enough of a description to accurately know what's going on. And then we've got 127, so 10, 391. Let's see if I did the math right here. Employee benefits. I did miss it. 7. Sorry. I always do math wrong when I'm recording demos. You'll see that I've budgeted half the money, essentially, for year 1. You're not required to do that. It does make it easier, though, because one of the nice things about Nova is that if you have the same budget from year to year, you can just hit copy from previous year. And hey, look, it copied it over. So this is a budget. You build it by object code. Please put more description in than this. You'll notice that when you have all the money budgeted, all of the red essentially goes away up here, and this step is complete. Like I said, for a lot of colleges, this will not be the final amount. Please budget the advanced amount for now, and adjustments will be made after final allocations are determined. Last thing here for the letter of intent is to upload the signature page. If you look at the Chancellor's Office website with all the documentation here, the signature page is Appendix B, letter of intent template form. We're asking that you download that, fill it out, upload it here. Which I'm just going to upload a random document. Yep, and we've called it signature page. Obviously, the system doesn't know if you are uploading an actual signature page, but you have to call something signature page, upload it, and then this step is done. When I'm all done, when all of the steps and everything's done here, I go down to preview and submit. Like I said, we're skipping the work plan, probably success stories for now. So we go down to preview and submit, make sure everything looks good. You can review your entire thing. I just scrolled through that very quickly. And when it looks good to you, you hit submit. And that goes to the Chancellor's Office for approval. But your part in this is done until you hear back from whoever is sitting in this role. Currently I have Linda here. I believe it's not actually supposed to be. But somebody from the Chancellor's Office will review and approve and get back to you. They will be looking for things like who's pre-approved for what cohorts and whatnot. Then, of course, after the letter of intent phase, when they have answers to all of those questions, the Chancellor's Office will calculate final allocations to each college and do amendments accordingly. And that is how to complete the letter of intent phase for this program. If you have any questions or technical issues, submit support request right here is your best friend. This takes you to the Chancellor's Office. We use ServiceNow for these tickets, but it allows you to essentially file a ticket. It goes to the Nova Help Desk, and somebody will reach out with a solution. That is it. Thank you very much.